All right. Hey, good afternoon, Brandon. Thanks for taking the time to get on here and talk a little bit. We all know that cleaning's a big deal in rentals, so whether it's a tenant moving into a long-term rental or an Airbnb guest checking in, like first impression is going to set the tone. So this is really important as a real estate investor, the talk that we're going to have here. I'm going to upload this long form on YouTube, so if people are watching it there, they'll see the whole interview. If you're seeing a clip somewhere else, tune in over on YouTube if you want to see the whole thing. So, if you could introduce yourself, I know that you do a great job on both some long-term turnovers that I have in Joplin, Missouri, and also an Airbnb that's a short-term. You've been in and out of that several times. If you could introduce yourself, let us know a little bit what you do and where people can contact you.
All right. My name is Brandon. I'm with Clear Bright Cleaning. The best way to contact me is through Facebook or our Facebook page, or you can contact me personally at Brandon Federling. We have a website. It's kind of, I get those notifications, but the best way to contact me is through Facebook. Or if you want to reach me directly, 816-982-1489. With Clear Bright Cleaning, we are your go-to cleaning company. We do residential, like your housekeeping type stuff. So you're we don't we're not a maid. There's a little bit of difference between a housekeeping and a housemaid, but just the basics: floors, dusting, trash, counters, bathrooms. Real simple, real basic. Then we do the long term move outs, like you were talking about. So when a customer has a tenant move out, we come in and we clean the entire unit, top to bottom, ceiling to floor. We get baseboards, we get light switches, we get face plates, cabinets inside and out, drawers inside and out, appliances inside and out. We try to eliminate any trace of the last tenant, because the last thing anybody wants to do when they move into somewhere is deal with somebody else's hair that they don't know whose it is or where it came from. So when we clean, we I remind my employees to clean as if your grandmother was about to move in here and she didn't have any help. And what kind of condition would you want your grandma to move into her new place? So we don't cut corners and we go the extra mile every time. For the short-term rentals like the Airbnbs and stuff like that, that is also a full service clean, ceiling to floor, but we do a little bit extra. We tidy up the furniture, vacuum the furniture, we change the beddings, make wash the beddings, make sure that the tenants or whatever the occupants, they always have fresh clean towels, fresh clean bedding. That way they don't have to worry about that. They can just come in, enjoy the property, and just relax like they want to, whether they're there for vacation or work. um, Other services, we do junk outs and haul outs. So with that, if you have a tenant that leaves a little bit of extra stuff behind that you can't just take out real easy, whether it's furniture, old appliances, junk, you name it, we'll get rid of it for you. Our slogan is we take the stress out of the mess. So that's what we're here to do.
Nice. I appreciate that. So you touched on a little bit of all three of the big topics that we're going to be talking about today, long-term rentals, STRs, and cleanouts. To dig in a little bit deeper from your perspective, what are some of the things that make an Airbnb turnover different from a regular house cleaning?
Well, with Airbnb, you want it, obviously it's going to be fully furnished. You're going to have all the dishes, you're going to have the cookware, you're going to have blankets, you're going to have blanket bedding on the couches and stuff like that. It's going to be done up. And when you're cleaning an empty house, there's nothing to work around, there's nothing extra to worry about. When you clean an Airbnb, you essentially want the customer to walk in and feel like they're walking into a magazine. You want everything in the perfect place, you want everything to look proper, you want everything to be nice and even and and clean. So whether that's the napkins, the table spread, the bedding, the whole nine yards gets cleaned with Airbnbs. We want it's essentially a hotel clean, then some.
Nice. Um, what would you say some of the first things that a guest or tenant notice when they walk in would be? And how do you like what are some of the things that a guest or tenant would notice when they walk in and how do you guys like clean to that?
Well, we understand that with cleaning, your eye automatically catches the first thing that looks out of place. Like that's why we all notice the picture frames that are slightly crooked. We can look at a whole wall full of pictures, but we're going to look at the one that's slightly crooked. That's just how our eyesight works. So that's how we approach every room. We make sure that everything looks proper. It's in the proper place. We make sure, like I said, we make it look like a magazine, that everything just looks prim and proper and pristine, almost looks brand new.
Nice. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Now let's go into there are probably some wholesalers that'll watch this or people like myself that source a lot of their own deals from distressed properties that have a lot of haul off or junk out problems when you're getting into it. So when you're prepping distressed property for rent, how does your approach change in those junk out or haul out type situations?
um, Honestly, the approach doesn't change too much. We just know there that we don't have to be as super focused on certain things like making sure the couch is in the right spot. And junk outs, we're getting the couch out. So with the junk outs, we like to take it one room at a time, get every single item. If they want the carpet gone, ripped up, or whatever, we make sure that each room is completely gone through, closets, everything, pantries. We make sure to get every bit of remnants of the ex tenant out before we start for the junk out phase, for before the cleaning phase. And with that, it's just everything goes that's not bolted down. Essentially, if it's not a part of the house, it's gonna go.
Okay, excellent. So that's a really good segment on showing how much the cleaning experience impacts guest or tenant experience and the importance of a first impression and a good clean out. So now for this next portion, let's go ahead and shift into the nuts and bolts of the partnership between the owner investor and the cleaning company and how to form a good partnership between the two that streamlines and works well for everyone. So for hosts and investors, the big question is how does working with a cleaning company actually work on a day to day? Some people may not have direct experience with it. They may have been working through different management companies or they this is their first investment. And so, what do I even do to book a cleaning company? So when you're handling scheduling, especially with Airbnbs, that's probably the most complicated one since there's so many last minute turnovers and requirements. How do you handle scheduling?
For scheduling, it's honestly pretty simple. The faster you get me the information, the faster I can get you taken care of. Like you said, with fast 24-hour turnarounds and stuff like that, it's just, it goes all about being on in schedule and being in communication. If I know when it's going to get booked and how long it's going to be booked for. So I already kind of have a gauge of when to know, hey, this house is going to at latest date need to be cleaned this day. But if they're staying there for 3 days, they can magically end their trip and I could have to pop up and jump in there within that 3 day period. So with that is communication is the number one thing, is and being on the same page. Honestly, with a good cleaning company, we're pretty hands off. As long as we know what and where and when, that we take care of the rest. As long as we know what's in the forecast of going to be needed cleaned, we should be able to take care of the rest. So other than maybe access codes or keys, other than that, we're completely hands off. A good cleaning company is going to be hands off. They all they should need is the information, and they should be able to take care of the rest for you.
Okay. How do you normally like getting that information? Do you work through a scheduling app? Do you work through being added as a vendor on other people's scheduling apps, email, text, and then from you to your cleaners? What does that communication flow usually look like?
My preferred communication is email or text, just because I like to have it written down in writing for both parties in case there's a mix up or wrong information gets sent over that it's not, well, I told you on the phone, or that type of situation. I like things to be in writing just so everybody's covered and cleared. So that's my preferred is email or text or Facebook message or whatever. But for the communication for me, I personally have a scheduling app for all my employees, and they can log in and it shows them the schedule for each individual day, and it shows them the time, location, size of property, what kind of cleaning we're doing. It shows them the customer's name, and with a GPS location right in it. So as soon as they pull it up, it tells them what time they need to be at work, and they hit the address and it takes them straight to it. So, and they are alerted as soon as the job is entered in the system.
Awesome.
So,
Okay. One of the things you mentioned was you like to make as an example, make it look like it's on the page of a magazine. So with the Airbnb, this would include a lot of restocking because there's a lot of like paper towels, toilet
trees, yeah,
paper, things like
all the
that.
paper
How
goods.
do you handle that supply restocking, or do you usually suggest that owners find somebody else to do it, or what's your best practices for those supplies in like an Airbnb type rental?
All right. Typically, there's one closet in the house that's kind of like a supply closet, and that usually keeps like the dish pods, the laundry detergent. They most Airbnb owners keep a little bit of cleaning supplies on site, but we and most other companies all provide our own. And then that's where they'll keep anything that we need to have on site, like the toilet paper, the paper towels, and stuff like that. And that's how we restock. And that's usually in a individual closet somewhere off in the house that's usually locked. Like they'll usually put a lock knob on it, so that way the tenants can't get into it and mess with it. But it's there for when we need it or for when they need it, if they ever show up or need to do something. So that's usually how we handle the restocking.
Makes sense. One of the big things, both with long-term rentals and with short-term rentals, are damages by guests. And whether I'm using a property management company for one of my long-term rentals or using software as a service for my Airbnbs, all of these require that properties be documented with photos before and after the tenant. With long-term rentals, this is usually handled by the property manager. However, with short-term rentals, the cleaning company in most cases is the one that handles that documentation. Do you use any checklists or photo documentation for houses on Airbnbs when you do cleanings that would help if there was some damage between cleanings that would then show that the tenant had done those damages and they could be remitted to the insurance provider for the software as a service for owner reimbursement, or also a lot of times even if they leave it in an abysmal situation with one of the services I use, I can even charge increased cleaning fees that get paid out of their insurance that I can then pay the cleaning company with. But all of those require photo documentation. Do you have a system for that, or a best practice that you recommend?
We do before and after photos of every clean every single time. That's just the best practice, whether you're doing a short term, long term, a one time clean. Oh, the only jobs we don't take pictures of is when we clean people's personal homes for residential. Other than that, we take before and after photos of every single clean. just for, like you said, it's proof to you as the owner of any damages or anything like that. uh, Not only do we send before and after photos, but we also send like a mini maintenance report, and anything that we notice is damaged or broken, or anything like if there's a light fixture broken, or if some of the light bulbs are burnt out, we will send that in a note at the end of the clean, just to make sure that the homeowner or property manager is aware, because we know not everybody has the time to stop by these places. Whether you own one property or 100 properties, you don't always have the time to stop by and check those little things. So that's one thing that I like to do with Clear Bright, is not only do we send the before and after photos, but we like to send a mini maintenance checklist or list of things that we've noted, like if there's a broken shower rod, or if there's a trim board that's ripped off, or anything little that they might want to be aware of, we let them know.
Okay, excellent. And so then the question that every owner has, price, right? So how does pricing vary between Airbnb turnovers and long-term rentals? What are some of the like things that you're considering when you set those prices? And what are some of the things that can help owners plan better to to deal with those prices? For example, on one of the software as a services, they're able to give me like normal cleaning prices, per zip code based on the vendors that they usually provide, but a lot of those vary, and I'm assuming a lot of that depends on, how much hassle or workload it's going to be for the cleaner for that specific property. So some of the differences between Airbnb cleans, long-term rental cleans, and how owners can, and junk outs as well, haul offs, but how owners can best prepare themselves to get the best price possible.
Um, to get the best price possible, I would definitely recommend getting a number of quotes, 3 to 5, just like any time you get any service. Um, your lower prices are going to be your smaller and at home cleaning companies. Typically, once you start dealing with the franchises or people of that nature, that's when the price tag is going to go up. But like we all know, you get what you pay for. So chasing that lowest price for cleaning isn't always the best practice. Uh, it's worth it to pay a good amount depending on the clean, obviously. And once you try a couple different companies out, you'll find who you have a good working relationship with. You'll like the quality of their work, and you'll like dealing with them and how they handle their business side as well. With the Airbnb pricing, it's fairly simple. It's going to be the same property. It's going to be in the fairly, like you said, normal same condition after every tenant or short term stayer. They have their own cleaning list by most Airbnb owners that they have to take care of themselves. So they do help quite a bit. But that one with the Airbnb should typically be about a flat rate, unless it's one of those crazy situations like you were talking about where they wrecked the property and you got to get insurance involved and whatnot. But then obviously those cleans are going to be a little bit more pricey. But for the most part, Airbnb cleans should be a flat rate price. They should cost you the same per clean every time, and it should be fairly reasonable. The long term rental cleans, the price with those can vary. Uh, I have one customer. I cleaned the same property for this poor lady 3 times in under a year and a half because she kept having the unfortunate luck of having bad tenants that would not fulfill their contract, to move out real quick, leave it in a mess, and she would need me to come. Yeah, I junked out the same property 3 times in a year and a half just because of bad tenants coming in and just not respecting the property, not paying the bill, and leaving the homeowner high and dry. So definitely do your homework on your tenants. But and with those, the price can really vary depending on how long the tenant was there, how well of care they took, how many pets they had. Typically, if there was children in the house, that will affect the cleaning bill, just because the little handprints on walls and baseboards and stuff does take time. Um, Most cleaning companies will charge by the hour, just because it's very hard to tell exactly how long it's going to take when you walk into a property, because sometimes you get to scrubbing baseboards or door frames and you realize you're in a whole other world than you thought, and not every two rooms are the same in the same house, as crazy as that is. So with that, it's the price can vary, but any good company will come and give you a reasonable quote, and for the most part should honor that quote at the end of the day. I know me personally, I've underbid a few times, and that's not the customer's fault that I underthought what it was going to take. So I a good company will just eat that bullet and make sure that they provide a good service. And for the junk out pricing, junk out can get expensive. Uh, Dump fees are going to be the number one thing, especially if there's appliances or computers or TVs. A lot of places will individually charge you unless you're dumping by like the trailer load, which I would recommend just getting a large dump trailer or getting a large dumpster delivered. Actually, taking it to the dump is going to cost you and the customer lots and lots of money. So that's what I would recommend, the best route to be. And for those, junk outs are pretty pricey. I mean, the more stuff they left behind, the longer it's going to take to make it look like they didn't. And typically with the junk outs, we do the inside and outside. So all the leftover lawnmowers and tires and stuff like that, we also make sure to get that. And so junk outs can be pretty pricey. For the Joplin area, a bad junk out can cost about $1,000, unfortunately. And I hate saying that, but it takes a lot of man hours, and getting rid of junk ain't always free or cheap. So
Yep, that makes sense. All right, so we got to talk a little bit now about the logistics and the relationship between the owner and the cleaning company. So now let's go into some more fun stuff and do some tales from the crypt, some stories from the field, some pro trips that you wish everybody knew. And having done a few call offs myself, I'd be interested to know what's the craziest things you've ever found during a property clean out or some of the wildest property clean outs that you've had.
uh man, I tell my customers I have literally found everything on my cleans except for small children. I have two cats from junk outs in Queens because people will just leave them behind. So yeah, now they're at my house. They just got in the work truck and went home with me those days. Yeah, no, people. The weirdest ones are when the people pack a bag and just leave everything. Fridge full, cabinets full, closets full. It looked like they just packed a bag and went on vacation. Was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna go back.
Right
That
on.
those are probably the weirdest one. I've had two or three of those,
Okay.
and like, cool. I guess we'll just get rid of everything you ever owned.
Right on. What are some of the things that you wish every Airbnb host or every property investor understood about turnovers?
Well, if they've done it for a while and they were hands on for even a short term, they probably are they 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 probably have a full grasp of what all those tenant turnovers can entail. But one thing, the amount of effort, if they've never had to do a junk out or move out or tenant turnover clean, the amount of effort that it takes to get these properties to looking magazine ready, move in ready, new tenant ready. I wish that some people would understand how hard it is. I actually did have a customer recently clean their own unit because I was a little booked out and they needed it before I could get to it. And the next time I seen that customer, he's like, "Man, I don't know how you do what you do." And I asked him why. He's like, "We had to clean out one of our units, and that is something else." I was like, "Yeah, it's when you have to get every bitty detail of every single room. Like I said, we clean it to where if my 70-year-old grandma was about to move in it and I wanted to make sure it was completely ready, sanitized, and clean, it's a lot harder than it sounds. Getting the bases of toilets, getting those fridges, because sometimes people will leave those fridges full for 6 months, no power. Ooh, dirty fridges are not fun.
Uh, no,
Not fun. So
no doubt.
the
So
the
being in and out of so many short-term rentals, you see a lot, not just cleaning. So this could be cleaning advice or not cleaning advice. But if you were to give a brand new Airbnb host just one piece of advice, what would it be?
protect yourself and protect your asset. Um, I I would recommend door codes for all the entry doors. That way, some programs I know will track each and every time a door code is entered. So that way you can give different door codes to different people. Like you can give one set of door codes to the tenants, but you can also give one set of door codes to your contractors. And then that way you can always know who's going in and out of your property if you don't have cameras on the outside or something like that. But that would be my number one advice, is to protect yourself and protect your asset getting into the Airbnb business.
Right on. Thanks. Well, thanks so much for sharing these insights. I already knew, but you made it very clear that a cleaning company isn't just about mops and vacuums. They're a key part of your business. I've always looked at like cleaning and lawn care as kind of like the intelligence operators on the ground every single day that can feed information back as a owner in real time. So that's why I liked you bringing up your photos that you do at every clean, before and after every clean, and also your maintenance reporting that's available before and after every clean, because a lot of times cleaners on the inside and lawn care on the outside catch a lot of things that would otherwise turn into deferred maintenance and bigger problems
Yeah,
later
they're
on.
like the eyes and ears for you guys when you're not there.
So you guys are definitely the key part of creating good guest experiences and protecting investments, and I'm glad that really came out here in the interview. So one more time here at the end, if you could give everybody your TikTok, your Instagram, your Facebook, your email, your phone number, all whatever those are, drop
All
those.
right, I am Brandon Federling with Clear Bright Cleaning. The best way to contact me is Clear Bright Cleaning on Facebook. We have clearbrightcleaning.com, or you can call me directly at 816-982-1489. We are on TikTok, we're and Instagram, I believe. But those are all the ways to contact me, and the best way would be at 816-982-1489.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Not a problem, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Later.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You still there?